All right, so had a super frustrating morning this morning at my house. Busted 3 deer just trying to get to my tree. One of them was a big buck. He's a stinky one too. I could smell he'd been around. I was like, oh man, are you kidding me? But those are the downsides of the hunting small pieces of property, is when you only got one way in, you're gonna bump deer. But anyhow, my dad was out hunting another small piece this morning, and he missed a really nice buck. It was a super big bummer. The cables on his crossbow exploded last week, and so he just got them put back on, but the crank mechanism for it was malfunctioning, and so that didn't get fixed when the strings got replaced. So he didn't figure that out until the morning. So he took his compound out. He's had 2 shoulder surgeries, so that's why he switched to a crossbow. He could still draw, so he took that out, but he misjudged the distance and shot underneath the deer. But it was a big one. It's actually the best one that was at this property. Only got one trail camera picture of him. So him and I are both out this evening, just covering both ends of this little 10-acre piece, seeing if he'll come back out this evening, because he was tending a doe this morning. So hopefully they're still in the area and we get a crack at him. That one's just a youngin'. I like to stop the young ones when they walk through and do practice draws on them. Just for good practice, to practice leaning out to get the angle right. Uh-oh, we got a buck coming. Yep. Oh man, that was heartbreaking. That was a really big buck. Had him at 15 yards. He was coming, perfect. He was following that little doe that just come through, that yearling doe. And she'd stopped on the other side of the fence line. She was only about 30 yards away from him. And he had gotten close enough that, I didn't want to shoot him while he was walking. But I was afraid that when he, caught visual of her again, that he'd take off, and start chasing her. So I just made that little bip sound. And he froze for about a half second and then took off. Which means that deer's been shot at before. Probably the one my dad missed yesterday morning. Dang it. Because that deer didn't see me. He didn't even look up at me. And he definitely didn't smell me because he's upwind of me. Oh, son of a gun. This season just keeps getting worse and worse, man. Sometimes I hate deer hunting. Well, I can't stop reliving that scenario from this morning in my head. Like we hunters do, I have relived it a trillion different ways, trying to figure out what I could have done differently. And there's no way to know a deer's going to respond like that. I've never had a deer respond like that wasn't already on edge, you know what I mean? I've had deer that were that smelled something, were already on edge, that the first noise they saw, they just bolted immediately. But this deer, it was textbook, man. He was trailing a doe through the woods. That's all he was thinking about. The wind was in my favor. Everything was good. And that's the ideal situation to be able to grunt stop a deer. And it just backfired, just blew up in my face. He stopped for less than a second, went like this, and then just bolted like lightning. And I was already drawn by the time he turned his head. He didn't see me draw. I don't know. Just colossal bad luck, which is my season in a nutshell this year. Just every time I go out, I'm not thinking, oh, today's the day. I'm thinking, I wonder what's going to happen today to totally blow my hunt, The tough part is I've probably put 150 hours in the stand or more this year for that opportunity. And to have it just fall apart like that, the perfect scenario, just crumble for no apparent reason, just makes you want to hang up your bow and wait till next year.